Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming? What's wrong with him?
He got as drunk as a lord. Totally pie-faced. Then he fell into a ditch, and now he's staggering around the streets, God knows where.
I might have expected. Once, he turned up with a hangover, and as soon as he smelt wine, he threw up all over the chapel door. I told him if that ever happened again, he was for the boot. Oh, well, you'll have to take his place for today. I've no time to find someone else. We can't be without a waiter here, when the king himself will need waiting on. So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. Here it is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. You can put your steel aside in front of the council chamber, along with your other stuff. You won't be needing it anyway. You don't want to be dragging a load if you're running around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are? For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great responsibility.
Well, I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen. A good waiter should stand in a corner, look willing and ready, and not get in anyone's way. In short, behave as if you're not there. But when one of the gentlemen calls for wine, you run and pour it for him on the double. You'll find the pitchers on a table by the door to the chapel. You take one and go to their table and pour for them. White Tokaib or red monastery wine.
White or red, by the door to the chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarjitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir Adam of Zarjit stays dry.
And if the king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him. And the most important thing?
To stay in the background and keep quiet until someone asks me something?
Correct. The councillors have a lot to discuss, and they certainly don't need any interruptions. And in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes, but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
Absolutely. I'm a waiter, after all. Not some street gossip monger.
Correct. And if you manage not to botch it up, you can even rise on the social ladder. Not just anyone can serve the King of Hungary, but you'll manage it. Right?
I know everything I need to. I can do it.
Excellent. Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
Our current Waffen-arsenal is
There
a
are the
joke.
pictures of
And
wine.
on top of that, the army was
Hopefully I won't splash anyone's shoes.
Should the town reserve
Hey,
have
wait,
worse
hold it,
weapons
Mr.
than any Räuber in the domain?
What are you getting at, Eldris?
I'm saying that the
apologise,
bandits
sir.
who freed
Which
Hinnick,
wine?
the dry
Are you
devil,
colourblind?
used that
White.
thing. That Hackenbücher. Hand cannon. Can you believe it? Where did they get them?
You're the one who should know where they got them, since you're a gunsmith.
What are you implying, Friedrich? All I'm saying is that they had them, Herr God.
Boy,
It
you
is
deaf
eine
or something?
Schande when
White,
outlaws
sir. White.
have better weapons than the city garrison. And her König
Am I supposed to drink
surely
red
knows
when I
this too.
wanted Tokai?
Sorry, sir.
What is it, Elders?
It won't happen again.
You smell a deal?
What I smell is that your stubborn heads do not realize what Schwierigkeiten this is.
Are you
The Dry
blind?
Devil is running free. There are Raubricker everywhere in the region. We have the army bearing down, and you want to defend yourselves
I fancy
with a
some
few
Tokai.
rusty halberds.
Refill,
Who is it you want to fight?
That's not a good idea, sir.
This is unbelievable.
King Sigismund is providing us with protection, isn't he?
Der König and his army will not be here forever.
Shut up! The king can arrive at any moment. What if he heard you?
What then? We're sitting atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with
I
brooms?
fancy some Tokai.
Right,
Refill,
Elders.
boy.
But where can we get the coin for better equipment?
We can always confiscate the property of the king's enemies, nicht wahr?
We are more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory. And the
Hey,
king is
where's
surely
my
aware
wife?
of it as well. Maybe if he waived some of the taxes.
The king fears that this town will rise against him. He'll take the arming of the city's militia as a preparation for war.
So you suggest we just
Hey,
wait with arms
where's my
crossed
wife?
for the Raubritter to wreak havoc all around?
We can always ask the king to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
I'm afraid I see no solution of the current situation.
This is
We shall
unbelievable.
wait and see what His Majesty thinks about the matter. Maybe we can change his mind. Vielleicht.
I'd like to report to the Honourable Council on the cleanliness of the
waiter.
city
Pour me
and the
some
state
monastery
of the
wine.
public baths.
I'd like to
You mean
oblige,
baths
but
or
not
brothels?
allowed.
This is unbelievable.
Isn't it the same thing?
So, the cleanliness of the city is not what it should be. The current baths in the city
Boy,
fall
come
far
here.
short of covering all the citizens'
More
needs.
wine, Master Bailiff?
I have enough wine.
Adam?
I need something from you. There is an item in my study that I confiscated from a female thief. She thought she could wriggle out of it by telling me who the item belongs to.
And what is it?
A silver goblet. She sneaked into Sir Ulrich's house and stole it. No one's noticed the theft yet. But if Ulrich finds out, he'll turn the city upside down to find the culprit. Go and get it. And don't you make a mess there, understand?
Certainly. And they can get leeches there for free as well.
Certainly, sir. I'll be right back.
Come back with it straight away, understood?
So what? Going to the baths is neither a civic duty nor a right.
Have you forgotten the Black Death? A great many people died needlessly.
I'd better leave the wine
Are you
here.
questioning God's plan? The Black Death had nothing to do with the baths, unless the Lord wishes to punish the wickedness that's going on in there.
Keeping the city clean is important, but we don't have money to spare. Arguing about who is going to wash where and how is a waste of time.
It's only a waste of time because we're always arguing about the same thing.
Not at all. If you'd finally admit that it's a trifle, we wouldn't have to keep coming back to it.
A trifle? Do you ever walk the streets here? Sewage, rats, slop, and rubbish. The least we can do for the citizens is to provide them with a place to wash up.
Nice.
What nonsense!
Whose silver mine must
Next,
be?
you'll want me to serve wine to everyone for free, too.
Why not? In Jerome Nas's earthly paradise, everything would be free.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Gentlemen, let's agree to disagree. What if the king heard us?
So, did you find it?
I did, Master Bailiff. Here it is.
Not so loud. Show it here. That's it. And now go back to your job.
I got word that Rutard has pulled off another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way, at least until His Majesty honors us with his visit. And as we know,
Hey,
Gunslin
waiter, pour
absolutely
me some
hates
monastery
him.
wine.
He can hate all he wants, as long as he does no damage. Ulrich, What have you got to say about it?
Me? Well, I'm not sure what you're implying.
I'm speaking
Monastery
about the Rutard
wine.
incident.
Here.
You were there, weren't you?
Oh, that. Just a small misunderstanding. We've sorted it out and everything's settled.
Well,
My
thank
ears
the
must be
Lord.
deceiving me. Are you defending Rutard? Besides, if his men attacked yours, as I've heard, then we have a good reason to punish him.
What happened there? Leave nothing out.
I don't like Rutard, true.
I apologise,
but
sir.
In this case, it
Which
really
one?
was nothing.
Tokai!
Everyone in the city gossiped about
Are
it.
you deaf?
I heard there were several dead.
Did you? That's grossly exaggerated. I don't think Rutard will cause any trouble. He is sensible enough not to draw attention to himself while the king is here.
That's true. Because if
Are
we
they
don't
only
do
just
something about
pressing
him,
the graves
king
for the
himself will
Tokai?
put an end to him, and soon.
Thank you, waiter.
Unless he puts an end to us first. God knows what he wants to tell us.
If nothing happened, there's no point in dwelling on it. Let's move on.
I'm sorry, Andreas, but I wouldn't brush it off so quickly.
You there,
Why do I
lad.
have the feeling
A
you're
cup
not
of red.
telling us the whole truth?
And don't you
already?
skimp on me.
Are you accusing me of lying?
Those are strong words, my friend. Nobody said anything like that, did they?
Then why doesn't he tell us what really happened?
Monastery wine.
I'm not keeping
Here.
anything from you. But there's little truth to the rumors circulating around the town.
Sir?
Yes, Rutard and I had a little disagreement.
Well,
but
thank
he
the
ended it
Lord.
quickly because his daughter wanted to get involved. I didn't want to expose the girl to any unpleasant sights.
So Rutard is hiding behind his own daughter's skirts.
As if it wasn't enough that he sent his son to die defending the city.
All right. If we really don't have anything new to say, let's turn the page.
Things have got out of order in the town. Some adventurers decided to take the law into their own hands and restore the tradition of duels. It's not only barbaric, but also illegal. If we
supposed to
tolerate
serve the
this,
wine, not
the
go
rabble
wandering
in the
around the
city will
building
go
with it.
wild and do whatever they want. I suspect the gentleman
Waiter,
from the
get
city's
me
sword
one.
fighting school brought this custom to us. It's now run by the German Menhard. Who knows who that fellow is?
Sir?
Don't be ridiculous, Forsucker. You act like you've never been in a fight yourself.
Vanish!
And
You
to
hear me?
accuse a swordsmaster without a
As you
shred of
wish.
proof.
Sir
We're not
Ulrich?
some old fishwives in the
Go!
law.
I don't want to see
So
you
you will
again.
just leave it be?
Proven offences are punished by the bailiff. And that's that. There are more pressing matters
Refill,
to
sir.
deal with.
Do you think I'd
More
come to the
pressing
castle
than
just
the
to go
open
by?
contempt
Come
of the
here.
whole town garrison. The guards are apparently settling accounts their own way. We'll soon be the laughing stock.
What can I help you with, sir?
I left my gloves in the chapel. I took them off to pray, but then I rushed here and forgot to take them. I can't just get up and walk out now. But if you disappear for a little while...
All right. I'll get them.
I knew I could count on you. While you're at it, count how many figures on the mural have wings.
But... why?
Because I'm bored. And because I told you. Get on with it.
We'll never get anywhere like this. Why waste our time?
That was easy. Enough, and he wanted me to count the winged figures.
So, let's see what...
I found your gloves, sir.
Really? Let's see them. And did you count those winged...
I counted 20...
And you counted correct. Good. Here you are, so you can have a bit of...
Since there's the eternal dispute over the cathedrals, the building of the church is dragging on, and in the meantime, they are calling diocesan pilgrimages to settlers, right under our noses.
Hey, waiter.
The monastery.
Pour me some
They are
alcohol.
going to Mokarol mining city, Why can't we build faster? Hire more craftsmen, start with night shifts.
Haven't you noticed there's a war going on? Are the experts from far off supposed to work in the city under siege?
Where is my
Besides,
Sir?
I get the feeling there's something other than the welfare of the city behind your complaints.
You, lad!
Oh, you do?
You look familiar to me.
And what would
Have we
that
met?
be?
Like, for instance,
I really couldn't
like
say,
to have
sir.
your own daughter there.
So
I
what
have
if
a
I would?
feeling I've
Hold your
spoken
horses,
with you
gentlemen.
before, too.
That space in
Or
the
with
side
someone
nave
who
is
looks
mine.
a hell
The
of a
hell
lot
freeze is
like you.
over, my friend. Your place is at least 2 steps behind mine.
A swordsmith dares to insult me? Ha! I think not.
Excuse me? You wanted to buy yourself an altar in the cathedral, just like you bought yourself a seat in this council.
How dare you? I acquired my seat for the services
Okay.
our guild provided and still provides to the crown.
Well, I hope you're not supplying equipment to the army. If that's all they have, they would be defeated by that bunch of ne'er-do-wells from the alehouse on Obbrink.
What?
Boy, are you deaf or something?
Those wrestlers
Fine.
of theirs, of course.
Wait.
Sir?
People from the whole town go to watch them brawl.
Oh,
Good.
this is
Now run
to
along.
me.
Because it has all been sorted out. Not long ago, the guards raided and threw them all out.
Ah, yes, I had forgotten. What do we have to discuss next?
I'm telling you, something is being planned.
Oh, I doubt it. No one's going to tackle Rootard.
Azonal Juchagasi, Alegiop Katonaikat, Ishkelkinek Utra.
You have nothing to fear. Not you.
Like this plan of fights!
Come now, Father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too.
I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malashov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harm. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
How does it feel to breathe free air?
What can I say?
And
no fear of that in my case. I intend wine.
What do you plan to do now?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the...
Have you perchance forgot?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser.
Dear me. But I suppose I'll have to
Indeed you should.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
Ugh, you stink like a wet dog.
What do you think you're doing around for, you crook?
Oh, what a stink! You ought to be ashamed.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here, and yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Kuttenberg. And this is Samuel, my aide.
Who would rather not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzig Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
I reckon the two of you would hit it off. For a young stripling, he's been through... He was supposed to become a blacksmith.
Wait, from Scarlet's?
Aye.
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of Martin.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his own, on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Kobila, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suit.
Good health.
L'chaim.
Bleh. What a What? What do you want?
Watch where you're going!
Mark my words, they'll be at each other's throats before dinner.
What else would you expect?
Christ.
It's a matter of
Praise the Lord.
Greetings.
What did you expect? That we'd find out how to get rid of Sigismund without effort and ideally...
May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver, and they think that can turn their blood.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
Young Lord Capon is...
He got a harsh lesson. But if not, war will make a man...
Do you think there's really going to be a war?
I sincerely hope so. Whoever...
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, as long as we proceed without prior agreement...
I couldn't help but notice your son has... a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly. But not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still...
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stefan, no one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his...
As they say.
Godwin.
Well...
What now?
You ought to be ashamed walking around smelling like that.
Fraternize this.
Have you been
I'm glad you finally accepted my
Davon
invitation.
hätte ich gern noch mehr, bitte.
Almost lost all hope.
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also...
My word.
Mais non! And I'm...
It's a pleasure to make you... How did you end up in...
Ah, and only lost it...
That needs some...
Oh, me...
You...
Ah, this Bohemia, you tell me about...
My last...
I've heard of the...
Aye. And it was there I decided...
Then, what are you doing here?
The Lord moved. You say you're a poet?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but I think not?
Where have you...
But of course, if you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have... And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then... That was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess. Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing?
Do you have the news? I'm not going to die.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to... By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein.
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's...
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why...
It depends.
A little delicate. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings. And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp...
Sigismund's army is demoralized, and he's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disaster.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We just need negotiators.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Bocek of Kunstadt, Haman Alder, and Anna of... If you can get those 3 on it. Meanwhile...
What if it does?
I refuse to even consider that outcome.
Why me?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You know how to... You and your friend Henry are similar in that there aren't many...
Tell me a bit...
Certainly.
Bocek of Kunstadt.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game, because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of...
Alder the Alderman.
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guild.
Anna of Waldstein.
Wenzel Bartosz. And
I was quite surprised to see her here.
A male affair? Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary... But don't trust appearances.
And what use can she be to us?
She's as sharp as they come. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth, and that it was thanks to...
I'll get on it.
I wish us both...
Success.
It's hot out. Ugh. You stink like a wet dog.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Bot.
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without a...
I want to have a word with...
Well, I'm having a word...
I'll talk to you later.
You're in my home. So you...
Is that your...
Unfortunately.
We'll talk later and in private. Right now...
Don't try...
Why so strict?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in... I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before... And then, I find out he's settled in some backwater but he took his boozing and whoring along with him.
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
You're exaggerating.
Me? Exaggerating? You're whores wandering around us.
Oh, actually, but maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitch.
You're dishonoring your hope.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor.
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame. As always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man.
It might be
Stay
old,
back.
But I'm not ready.
Who taught you that?
Stand first. Otherwise, the first
They teach you that in the
strike will
seminary?
put you on your arse.
Not
You
bad
don't
for a
know which
priest.
end of that thing is up.
Christ!
Shit!
Look at my eyes, not at my sword.
Take that!
Left arm lower.
Did they teach you that in the seminary? You're fast.
Cover your right side. You've got a gap there I can drive a cart through. Swing
Enough.
with your whole arm,
That
not
will
just
do.
your wrist.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. The sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nippler. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important. considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You've got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
What's the matter? Did you drop something? Yuck. What the hell is that? That smell was coming from over here.
Exactly why we mustn't push too hard.
Burgers full of patricians and usurers. They're without.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Yobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Rutai.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after. I can't risk it all in a conflict.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left...
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong...
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
He may be young. He's got battle experience. And when he gets...
If he gets it. Right now, Hanush lords over Rattay. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good rep. Maybe it's not...
So?
You're selling the skin of... First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take...
And what if...
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Jesus Christ! What have you been calling around?
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? My Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, there's one little catch. I had to promise him... I don't even know how to begin.
Out with it.
Lord Kunstad has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstad. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstad's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sasau. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills. Take a look at that.
Sabuchik, your niece...
So Hanush agreed.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill...
Thank you.
Enough formality.
Cheers to the beautiful...
Here's to a...
Jesus Christ! What have you been rolling around there? Foul step!
My God, what's taking so long? Ugh.
You seem a...
Oh, these grand arrows. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what...
But then you'd miss all the grub.
Oh?
A lot of people think the wealthy weather out of...
No, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here. Like Ruthard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'll be enough. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while.
That's... In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace...
Ugh! What? Oh, it's just you, eh? Uh-huh.
What a stink! I hope it's not me. That was some stink.
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And...
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that.
Margrave Yob's plan had...
To muster an...
Christ!
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on. Although, between the two of us,
How do you know Lichten?
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them, but they wouldn't dream of stating them aloud. While it seems that Lord Liechtenstein...
I'd say you have a better nose for people than...
Not only for people...
Then you're...
The wine here... So?
Nothing more than support.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only you. You're well able to
Then I'd be helpful if you want me to support you.
Do you have something in particular?
Well, one of the guests here has something.
Who's that?
Harmon Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers...
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
I'm supposed to rob an ally.
Harmon Alder was given the documents to deliver to the council. He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them.
And the papers I'm supposed to...
Just insignificant documents. If they...
Have you fallen out with the town council?
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of... They're disappointed that I dared outlive my husband. And the fact that I'm handling his estate...
All right, I'll help you.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these... But watch yourself. Odorin. My. Something.
Yuck. What the hell is that? Were you trying to scare me?
Greetings. What do you need?
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horses are fed and watered. I'm not idle.
God forbid. But...
Not really.
Shall we roll some dice? I'm sure you can take a little breather, eh?
Well, all right. But just... I'll wait at the table over there.
Those guys sad that you're just letting them sit there?
What? What do you want?
Maybe you're not playing for the first time, but you can't beat me. Alright, that'll do. Like this. My God! Oh, come on!
God be with you, my friend. And with you.
Here. Come to Papa. I won.
God, where's that stench coming from? I can hardly smell it now.
What's that? So you're doing it. Right then.
We can no longer afford to wait.
I've got those papers from Alder.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're...
As agreed. I will support...
Thank you, noble lady.
Yes, quite.
I'd like to.
Wise.
I'm still hoping...
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes. And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
Yes! The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wencesla's side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylenders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
I apologize, sire. I'll do everything in my power to...
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, You are harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their
Let him go, right now!
Now you'll see.
Between the two of us, Margaret, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly, we have had enough of false flattery.
Sire. You are harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the King's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
Well, fine. Soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace, at least among themselves. Jobs does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities, and get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp's nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Marquardt. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king.
Thank you, sire. You are too magnanimous.
Why? You did a good job. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, Your Majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the council was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Rabosch. Alderin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Oderin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosch will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No. We shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Rabosch falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
No, so what? We left a long time ago. Where to God?
The sausages were also delicious. And when those two girls came by carrying that roast piglet...
Now we close our doors for the evening. People here know what to do. I'd like to... So, touching, come. I never had true... See now. Only... Fuck. I've got a tongue like a... Well, gets his lordship. To hell with... I had my eye on him all evening. He had pictures brought from somewhere for himself and his clothes, and left the rest of us to drink.
You can bet on it.
I don't doubt... Oh, que l'un Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo.
How'd you like a wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long trade. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. Even the king himself. This. Give me 100 knights in full armor, and I will clear my name.
Perhaps we... What do you think? Right? Come smell it.
Well, maybe an old pinch person. But when it comes to affairs of state...
What? I'm talking about fucking Sigismund, you twat.
I love my...
This is about politics.
That may be true. But good wine on the table is a compelling argument. Any debate going on around.
Queen? If the Queen did this, there wouldn't be no war.
Huh. I still can't wait for that gin. Just a bit longer.
Aye, you already said that.
Have mercy on us, O angel of Christ, holy guardian and protector of my soul and body. Forgive me every transgression which I have committed this day, and deliver me from every craft of my enemy and adversary. May I not anger my God.
Is a compelling argument in any debate going on around it.
What does it matter? I still can't agree, but it's going to take time.
Get it.
What? I'm talking about fucking Sigismund, you twat. I love my... Oh, yeah. Keep going.
So you keep saying.
The sooner he's gone, the sooner life returns to this country.
Remember, in the morning.
Excellent. Have you been rolling in shit? Next time it'll be even better.
Couldn't you have run out when you